everybody. This is Ginger, and this is Ginger's Chat Show. It's Wednesday already. Wow, time flies. I was busy yesterday. I got my new glasses, and I'm going to show them to you. Um, these are my new set, and they're really nice. I can't wear them because I get too much glitter off of them, but these are the same design pair, except the vision on it is corrected. Um, You know how it is when you get glasses and then your eyes start changing again. You never really get a correct, perfect uh, measurements on your eye because it's always changing. So, anyway, this is Wednesday. It's March 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day, and I hope you had a relaxing and fun St. Patrick's Day. Um, the only thing this is more of a blue green. But hey, it served, and I got my knee worked on, and of course my glass picked up and everything. Um. Anyway, the subject today is Save the Vote Act that they were talking about that the Senate was going to vote on, and the post office. Uh, there was a talk that GOP wants to shut down the post office altogether because it's losing money. Well, you know what? So what is losing money? But it's part of the federal government. And there are some things that don't work, and there's some things that do work. What I really like to see is my tax money go to doing good, wonderful things, such as the weather, improving weather and warning signals for weather, improving communication, like more cell towers, so all the areas in the United States are covered. Uh, you have to get your warnings from somewhere when a tornado comes through. When you live in the Midwest, up here in Washington State, we don't get very many tornadoes unless the conditions are perfect. Um, we get like 2 or 3 a year. Mostly down south here, southwest here, Washington, and sometimes over here in the northwest, that way toward Kitsap, that we get tornadoes. And one did hit a couple years ago in Kitsap County, just outside of Gig Harbor. It took out a house. And uh, it was an EF. It was almost an EF 2.5, almost a 3. It took out the house. It just wiped it. Anyway, of course, its insurance covered that and everything, so they, rebuilt it and everything. Um, Now the insurance companies have gotten into the habit of not wanting to pay the premiums. And when they do that, they just shut down, move out of state and shut down. Mm-mm. You can't do that. So insurance companies, if you want to be in business, start helping pay the premiums. Then the funds will build back up again anyway. But stop shortchanging your customers, because that's what you're doing. Knock it off. Okay? Anyway, on the post office, I don't know if any of you remember your U.S. Constitution or U.S. history of what and how it was built in the U.S. Constitution, right? Well, I remember it being drummed into me that during the creation of the Constitution, which was in 1792, which is 234 years ago when that was created. The U.S. Post Office was created by Congress because they wanted to have better communication and regular mail and everything else, so everybody be served to get their mail, communicate with families and friends, communicate with the government, which is us, the people, those that are hired to represent us, you and me, to get the mail and everything else. Well, now, guess what the GOP mongers want to do? They want to cut it out completely. They want to shut down the post office completely. Well, I have news for you guys. You can't. You have to go through legislation to amend that particular section of the Constitution, which is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 7. Established Act of Congress to create post offices around the country, around the cities that need them, the towns that need them, and create communication and everything else. The first post office mail carrier was the Pony Express out in the West. They almost have regular established post offices on the East Coast, but out in the West they were expanding, so they had to use the Pony Express until mail was carried on stagecoaches or by the train. When the train started being established, then the mail was carried on the train because it got there faster. But Mongoose, you need to go back and read history. You need to do your research. And if you don't want to learn anything new, then you're being stupider. You're being stupid. Stupider works too. But stupid. You can't shut down the post office. So what's losing money? Okay? You cannot send everything through the post office, okay? You can't ship everything through it. That's why UPS, United Parcel Service, started picking up the slack from the post office so they can have things delivered like furniture, small items, that type of thing, okay? Or DHL or Prime, Amazon Prime. Now, Amazon Prime has its own carrier service, so they have everything set up for them. So, they would be, in order for them to want to get rid of the post office or the postal service, they have to have it amended through Congress. So in other words, those in Congress, both in the House and the Senate, have to govern and look through it, do research on it. And when I suggest to them, forget about it. Just leave it the way it is. Do tweaks to the system, make it better, make it more efficient. Okay? Don't sit there tear down a good thing that's been going on for 234 years. It was going fine. Okay? Sure, sometimes the mail gets late because things do happen. Mother Nature sometimes works against us. Like this past winter, we had that big flooding up here. Mail was delayed because the mail trucks couldn't get through. The roads were flooded, and it was highly recommended not to go through flooded roads. It was recommended to find an alternate route to get around. So, really, I would suggest that they forget that. Don't try it. Don't try shutting down the Postal Service. Okay? Now on the other thing, we heard this past week about the Save the Vote Act, or Save the America Act, that was disguised to to discourage women and those with disability and everything else from voting. In other words, requiring women that got married, took on their husband's name, and changed their last name, and from their maiden name. Maiden name and married name are two different things. And that's what the MAGA don't seem to get through their thick, stupid skulls. If you did that, that would be everybody, all the women in the United States. Okay, except for those that are not married. And have to spend all this money to chase down documents and everything so you get married. Senate finally this past, I think, when was it, Saturday? No, Monday. Day before yesterday. They voted not to vote on it. They said they're going to vote no. And they said you're also forcing the fact that the women senators and representatives be forced to do the same thing. And they said, oh, well, they'll get exceptions. This stupid act should be in the burn barrel right along with the rest of the Project 2025 crap book, as I call it. Why mess up a good thing when it's working okay? Okay? Women get divorced, they get widowed, they get, some get married, some elected not to get married. Just leave them alone. Let them vote. Voting is a right. It's an American right. You don't sit there just disenfranchise certain groups in the United States. Everybody gets to vote. And you know what? I feel like taking those MAGAs and disfranchising them from voting and see how fast they backtrack. And now what I feel is kind of funny, I don't know if you're paying attention to this or not, our allies are telling Trump no, they're not going to help him in Iran. Okay? He said, you brought the mess, you fix it up. That's a mark of a leader. Oh, another thing too. There's been news that they said this is the 7th straight time that Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu, missed his 7th Security Council meeting of Israel. And they can't find him anywhere. Because he brought this war on too. So the best thing for Trump to do is bring back the smart people, and get rid of most of his cabinet and get proper people in that are trained, that know what works and what doesn't work. But since he's too narcissistic to do that, in other words, too selfish to do that, then he needs to be impeached and then a new president needs to be appointed. What I suggest, and I suggested the last three of my videos, is do a snapshot election. Do what Canada does and do what UK does when they get into a constitutional crisis. Okay? Just would suggest do it within a month. First week, put your nominations in. Do vetting of those that are running for president. Vet them. Okay, overturn every rock. 3, conduct the elections in the middle of the month. Or give them a chance to campaign for a couple weeks. Okay, 2 weeks. Then the last 2 weeks, toward the end of the month, then voting will commence. But suggest you do voting online. Don't use the voting booths or anything else. Do it online, where everything is so encrypted it's not even funny. Everybody can vote from home. Okay, with all the measles and diphtheria and everything else that's going around that created and caused by RFK Jr., I suggest voting from home, just to be on the safe side. And Stronger suggests this: leave the mail-in voting alone. Leave it alone. Okay? It's the same method, except you just do it on ballot at home. Then you mail it in or have the secure person come in and pick up the ballots and then turn them into the Pierce County, or not Pierce County, but turn them into their Secretary of State, the voting offices that go through all the votes and everything else, and then give out who the winner is. But impeach Trump. When you impeach Trump, you're taking out his whole administration. Everybody goes. It says so right there in the Constitution. So look it up. Look it up on the 25th Amendment, how it works. Congress has the power to do it. They need to stop being afraid of a little tyrant bully. And that's what he is. Him and Miller. Because when Trump is kicked out, Miller is gone too. Miller should be in jail because he's violated a number of federal laws, and so is Trump. And I think Elon Musk needs to pay restitution back because of this Doge crap. Okay. Now, I was listening to Farron Balanced this morning, and he was talking about there's one country that monitors all the other countries as far as democracy goes and everything. And that particular country declared that U.S. is no longer a democracy. Well, I refuse to believe that. That's a bunch of crock. Because really, the country who I'm talking about is Sweden. Sweden, have you really been over here? Have you really lived here in the United States and how things go and learn all the ins and outs? Then make your decision. Don't sit there and say that and not go over and do your research. I don't appreciate when another country tells me we're not a democracy. We are a democracy. We're pushing against back Trump and everything else. And many of the guardrails are still in place. And people say, well, we're not free. Oh yeah, we're free. We're free. I refuse to be told, you can't do this, you can't do that. I go, excuse me, then you can't do that either. So, be sure to insist, persist, and push back. And talk to your senators, talk to your representatives, saying, hey, This guy's endangering us all. He's endangering the world. He's endangering the planet. Remove him. He's fired. He's done. And he is gone. And Trump keeps going after people like Jimmy Kimmel and those in late night talk show. I think they're funny. And they're poking fun at him. But he gets all into a hissy fit. Now, all the previous presidents that we had, when the late night talk show hosts talk about the president or what happened or what was funny that happened, the presidents laugh at themselves. Go, yeah, it kind of happened, but they don't throw a hissy fit like Trump does. Trump has never grown up. He's never been taught properly critical thinking, and he never taught proper manners. Frankly, as a kid, he should have been taken over on somebody's knees, smacked, paddled hard, and put on timeout. Sometimes you have to get a point across. Okay? I don't condone violence, but I don't condone a parent. I don't like a parent when they let their kids run wild. Because sooner or later down the road, that kid's going to get into serious trouble, and a parent may get into serious trouble too. Okay? Okay, well, I will see you on Friday at 1 o'clock. Take care, stay safe, root for your favorite teams. I'm sorry the U.S. lost the World Baseball Championship, but hey, congratulations to Venezuela. You guys did wonderfully. Got a good team down there. Many of our U.S. players here are from Venezuela. And so they've chosen to play for their home country's team. Which is fine. It happens all the time. No big deal. Okay? And ICE and Trump, you leave them alone. ICE need to be banned. Need to be disbanded. So anyway, I will see you guys later. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll see you on Friday. Be sure to insist, persist, and push back. And I will post this on my YouTube channel. And thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.